good, agents? It's Tristan, Dan. Hey, Dan. Dan says Tristan, dude. You should change that.
I know.
And we've got
you.
Tessa again. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate that. And we're going to be talking about Instagram. The last time we had Tessa on, we tried going live into Facebook, but it was that day that Facebook blew up. And so we didn't get the opportunity to do that. It's nice to have you on this time live.
Yeah.
So people will ask questions and we get to interact with everyone and you here. I'm going to pin this to the top here. Tessa, can you tell us a little bit about you, what area you cover, how you got into this whole world of Instagram and how you use it? Just short little.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm so excited to be back. And it is ironic that the last time we did this, social media world like collapsed that day. It was kind of funny, but I'm happy to be here. I'm over in Scottsdale, Arizona, so in the Valley of the Sun, and I run a growing real estate team here, and then I also run a digital marketing agency where I've been able to help over 500 companies around the United States, mostly with growing a presence, increasing leads and conversions, which is my favorite part, and then building a community. So real estate's always really been that bread and butter for me, but Instagram started to serve as the biggest pillar of my business, and an incredible way to just tap into building connections and communication on a deeper level, which when done right converts into a lot more business. So that's kind of where it all came from. And now I'm able to teach and coach and mentor other agents all around to really bring Instagram and social media into their business in a really successful, easy way that doesn't take a million hours every single week to do.
That's true. Good topics there. So I find that the biggest challenge that real estate agents have, and you touched on it the last time on this. And for those of you looking for Tessa Bella's part 1, it's on YouTube, on Lab Good Agents YouTube. And I find that they don't know what to post. The content, maybe even like a schedule type thing, right? That's number 1. That's challenge number 1. And challenge number 2 is that they don't know how to grow their presence on Instagram. A lot of people are just stuck at 50 followers or 100 followers, right? Yeah. So help us out with those 2 things. Let's go into the first one, because last time we talked, that stuck with me. That whole graph that you had, that was beautiful.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so I definitely agree. Those are kind of the trickiest parts, not even just in real estate, in everything. It's figuring out what to post and then how to get the eyeballs on what you just posted, because there's nothing worse than taking all this time to create really awesome content, then you post it and get like 5 people paying attention to it, maybe a couple likes. It feels defeating, and it feels
makes me really sad. I'm
yeah.
Like, can I even be doing this crap?
It's like, who am I? I'm not cut out for this. Yeah, no, it's very true. So as far as kind of what to post, a big thing that I always encourage people to do is to really pay attention to shifting that mindset first. I think a lot of times when we hop on social media, we're thinking, okay, what do I post? And you start thinking about yourself. Instead, I always try to take myself out of that position and put myself into, what do people want from me? What do they need to hear from me? So that can be in terms of real estate. How can you be educating your followers and giving them the resources to feel supported in what it is that you're sharing with them, to feel confident that you're going to be the one to help them, all of those kind of things. So I think about that. And then, of course, paying attention as well to the things that entertain people. Because at the end of the day, Instagram used to be a lot easier when you could just hop on and the only thing you could do was post a photo. It was a lot easier to kind of get eyeballs on what you were sharing. But now we've got so many different varieties of that content. We've got stories, we've got IGTV, we have live, we have videos, we have photos, we have all this kind of stuff and all these other distractions. So I think of it like you're walking into a room, and instead of there just being this one room where everyone can hang out, there's now 6 different doors that everyone can go into. It's like a big house party instead of just a one-room party. And so you kind of have to think about how you want to entertain people and capture their attention to want to come into your party, into your community.
So that's a good point. Should we then, when we look at Instagram, should we be looking to entertain everyone at all these different doors in this party? Should we be doing IGTV, stories, posting regularly, either stills like pictures or video? Where should we be focused? Should we be doing all of it?
Yes, that's a good question. I'm actually a huge fan of repurposing content. So most everything that you'll see of mine is used in like 6 different ways. And a lot of times people don't even recognize it. So I don't just copy and paste the same exact thing everywhere. But for instance, you could go live and talk about a subject. For instance, let's take a market update. So you go live, you're giving an awesome market update about your community, and then you could save that, use it as an IGTV, which also posts to your feed. So now you just took one thing that took you maybe 10 minutes to do, and now you've created 3 different pieces of content that can be used at different times. You could even go further and break that into your stories, all that kind of stuff. So I guess to answer your question, I think it's important to find the doors that you can really pour into and do well, just like with anything, right? You don't want to do a bunch of things not very well. You want to find a couple things that you can focus on and really do an awesome job with them. So,
well, since you do this, I mean, you coach people on Instagram. For those of you looking for it, I put the link up below. I think it's, let me see, I think it's above. And so it's somewhere there. And you coach people on this. What do you find is the easiest thing for agents to do to start with? Is it just simple posting, like a graphic or a picture of themselves? What do you think?
Yeah, I think definitely starting with the feed post is an amazing place for you to begin. And I love to keep it kind of diverse. So I definitely always try to have a photo of you within those first 6 to 9 squares there, so that people can continue to be reintroduced to your face and who you are and the name behind the brand. But then also, of course, sharing, you know, graphics are amazing. If you create a branded graphic, it's not only a way to look really cohesive with what you're doing, but also to give other information in a kind of different format for people. But I do a lot of kind of combined different kinds of content, and then make sure that you're paying attention to what people like. Because at the same time, I could post a photo of a graphic that has all these words all over it, and somebody else could share the same thing, and their audience may not like it as much as mine did. So it's
true.
Paying attention to that.
So yeah, you're right on that. And I think, like, going back to the biggest challenge, still, if you're telling people to post this one post, they'll do it 1 or 2, maybe 3 times, or that whole week, but then they'll stop because they don't know what to post, right? And so I always go back. So ever since we did our very first Facebook Live and recording webinar, you showed me the whole graph, right? Mm-hmm. And now I use that and I go, look, this isn't mine. It's Tessa's, and you can follow her here. So I give you credit, but damn, that opened my eyes. I was like, we can structure this, right? Yes. So now I'm telling people, hey guys and girls, follow this method, and it's Tessa who created this graph. Do you have that handy so we can?
I do, yes. I could totally pull that up.
All right, because that I think broke it down so simply for agents. Yeah. And it uncomplicated this whole process. And you can go ahead and use this even for Facebook or LinkedIn. It doesn't just have to be for Instagram.
Yeah, no. And just like we were kind of talking about, like, recycling content is so crucial to not only saving your time, but it's actually really effective in really putting across that cohesive message and that kind of authority on multiple different, you know, platforms. So you could take things so far from recording a video, using it as a live, as a post, as an IGTV, to LinkedIn, like putting it everywhere. And that's just a great way to do it. Okay, very so true. I have this up. How do I?
All right, you see the bottom there, it says share.
Oh, yeah.
And then just, let me see, I think I have to make you co-host, but I think there, I made you co-host. Oh, you got it.
Okay, got it. Let's see if I can make this bigger.
It looks good on the screen so far.
Okay.
So we could do it there. That's good.
Okay. Cool. So this is kind of the chart that I always begin with. And I do this for myself. I do this for any clients I've ever helped. This is like the strategy that I think helps people to save time and really just put together what you know you want to share in a way that's going to be able to like come across the way you're wanting to present it. So I start with this simple graph. I've got 7 columns and 5 rows. I usually always mix those up, but I think I got that right. And then the way I fill it out is across the top, I put elements of me and elements of my business. So this is, you know, where I am an expert in my area. I'm talking about the superpowers that I have in regards to my business. I'm showing different elements of who I am in my brand. And then on this side, I put the categories of connection, which ultimately, these are what I use to build that like, know, and trust that we're always shooting for. So what those kind of look like for me, and this is just a great example, is so across here, those elements of the business. Buyers and sellers are obviously 2 people that I serve. So that's 2 very prominent categories in my real estate business. The next one I have is local. So I love to share a lot of localized content. I think it's a great way to quickly establish yourself as somebody to come to for resources, even outside of real estate. I did a post a while back about the top 5 pizza places in my city, and that was one of my most popular posts ever. Everybody wanted to know the best pizza.
Was that an actual graphic picture, or was that a video?
Yes, it was an actual post, and I used like a carousel post, so I shared a picture of it at each post. Yeah. Then the decor category. This can easily be swapped out for anything, but I try to fill this category with something that is beneficial to a potential homeowner or somebody who is the current homeowner. So it could be decor, it could be landscaping, it could be DIY tips, or if you work with a lot of investors, it could be some investment advice. So things that kind of benefit them, but that makes them come to you as a resource outside of just the buyer-sell transaction. The next one I do is loans. I think it's awesome to show off your vendors and the people that you partner with. So I love to talk about this a lot and just show people that you have that knowledge as well. And then process is a big one where I really highlight what it is that I do that's different from anybody else. What I like, my kind of competitive edge, and showing those elements of my process and the way that I work with somebody that kind of is different than somebody else might. And then my categories of connection, I've got tip, which is pretty straightforward. That's sharing valuable information that is educational, that's really helping other people benefit from what I'm sharing. I share wins. So I think that tooting your own horn is, in a tasteful way, is an amazing way to just show what you're doing and that you're building success. People love to kind of be a part of that and see the journey. Trust. I love in the trust category, and I'll show you guys some examples, but I pull in my vendors a lot. I really leverage the fact that I have a network of referral partners that people know me as the girl they could come to for anything. Like, you need the best clown in town, I have that referral. You need it, I want them to know that I can give them what they need. So that's kind of awesome. my trust section there. And then you is where you're pulling in elements of who you are as a person and the kind of unique elements of your brand. So this is kind of what it looks like all filled in. And I'll just go through a few examples so you can kind of see, but basically just cross-referencing these. So obviously a home buyer tip. It could be best local restaurant, which is another tip for the local area. This could maybe be the credit that you need to purchase a house or get a home loan. For the wins category, again, you're just finding ways to highlight what you've accomplished, the wins that you've achieved, all those kind of things. So maybe you've sold your listing for over ask, or anything that you can kind of toot your own horn and highlight elements of that. It's really amazing. The trust there, again, is highlighting, like, if you have a moving company that you use, or an architect, or anybody that you use as a referral partner. I love to build trust that way by showing that I have a really unified team of people that works together. The you section could be maybe your own personal story. So I'm a big fan of pulling in kind of the emotional side of a transaction too, because most people are driven by some sort of emotion, some sort of feeling. So sharing your own story, or maybe a story of somebody close to you and how that kind of process was helpful for them. It could maybe be where you take your kids on the weekend, or something you're doing to your own property. I just think letting people in on your life a little is cool.
And I think this is the part that most agents are missing. because they only work on, I think every agent works on the win part. You know, we just sold this one. We just got into escrow, open house, right? And I think if they could work on this you part at least, that would definitely gain them a lot more followers, right? And then you can get into the trust and tip. But I love how you outline this, because I could just circulate through this. I could just start with tip on buyers and go to win on buyers and trust and you, and then go to the sellers and then go down that and then go to local. This is good for like a whole month or longer if I'm only posting every other like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, it really is. And what I find is a lot of times when I outline it like this, obviously these are kind of the main subject of what I would post, but it kind of sparks that creativity to come up with multiple posts for that. So obviously for a home buyer tip, I've got a lot more than just one tip to share, right? So that could encourage you to create multiple posts that could even be like a series that you share that's kind of all of that knowledge.
Yeah. So Tessa, do you give this out to the people that you coach, or how does this work? Because I know we put a link up there.
Yeah, so this outline is a part of my course, as well as kind of a 30-day content calendar that helps you to plan out how to share, when to share, and what to share over a month's time, and how to kind of duplicate that.
Perfect. Okay, let's say we got into a schedule where we're now doing this. I'm going to do the tips, and I've outlined it on let's say on a written calendar, right? I outlined it. And now, should I be focused on posting more static images, graphics, or should I be focused more on doing video? What's your take on that?
I love video because I think that the way that somebody appears in a photo, or that something appears in a photo, is one way. But at this point, we have so much that consumers consume on a daily basis that they're starting to really be able to sniff through kind of the phony or the fake or the things that aren't as authentic. And I think when we hop on a video and we're sharing information and knowledge that we know, I think that's so powerful for really allowing people to see that authentic, real side of who you are, who the person is that operates the business. And ultimately, people buy from people. People love to shop with their friends. They don't want to feel like somebody's just advertising to them all the time. So I think that sharing video is a really powerful way to connect with people and build up more of that community feel. But I honestly, if you ever to look at my feed or anything like that, I do quite the combination of the two. So you'll see I have video.
I've got yours here. I popped it up for you. First of all, you've got 25,000 followers. She needs more followers. So if you're listening, just go to Tessa Bella right there and just go to follow. We need to get to 30,000, Tessa. Right.
Okay, working on it.
All right. And then you could see here's what she's talking about. You see that little icon right there? That means that's IGTV. And I'm not sure if I can play it off here, but I'm going to try. Let's see how it works.
Oh yeah, you can.
Oh, I didn't know that. Cool.
So this is actually a great example, because this was a story that I did yesterday, and I just saved the story as a whole video and then uploaded it as an IGTV.
All right. So I want you to take everybody a little bit back on that, because on the story side, all right, let me see if I can connect my iPhone here so I can take people through that story part so people can see what you're talking about. Because if you leave your finger on the button for story, it'll just keep on recording, right? And it'll go over the 15 seconds. And so when that happens, you can then download that and then upload it as an Instagram or IGTV, right?
Yes.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Perfect. So if you didn't follow that, let me know. If you didn't follow that, you know what? Just click on the link and then go coach with Tessa though.
Yeah. Well, even if you have separate stories, like you just record the 15 seconds and post those throughout the day, you can actually download your entire story. So if I had 50 different posts on my story that day, I can download that all as one big video, and then I can use it however I want as well.
That's so smart. You know, every time I talk to you, I learn something new. That's good.
I like that.
I hadn't been doing that, so now I'm going to do that. That's brilliant. I'm just going to leave it there, download it, and then re-upload it as an IG. That's so good. All right. So out of everything you have here, what do you think? What type of post do you think engages more with the audience? You mentioned that the pizza one you did with the carousel ad there, that did well. But what are you looking? What do you think does best here? Because I'm seeing like 2,000 views on this one is huge.
Yeah. So as you can see, all of the video posts are the ones that definitely get the highest engagement. That's why I try to pull those in a lot. So my IGTVs get a lot. If you'll click on, let's see, scroll down a little. It's right. Oh, shoot.
Almost there.
Okay, this one with the coffee.
This one.
Yes. I mean, it could be kind of any of them, and then scroll up over here in the comments to the top there where it's there you go. Okay, so this you can see, and you can't even see the full caption right there, but I like to really treat my captions on my posts as almost a mini blog post. Oh. And I like to share a lot of content there because this is actually something, and this is a little higher level, okay? But one of the big things that Instagram pays attention to as far as engagement and how much they're kind of ranking your profile is how many people save the content that you share. So this little button that kind of looks like a ribbon over here, that's actually the save button. And
this one right here?
Yes. Yeah. And when I post content like this, which is a longer form of content, I get so many more saves, which gets a lot more people kind of coming back to the post beyond just the time that I've shared it.
You know, that makes a lot of sense because people want to get back to it because they don't always have time to read all of this.
Exactly. Or they read it and they're like, dang, that's good. I want to read that again at another time. But you don't want to have your phone full of screenshots or whatever.
All right. Perfect. I love that. That is so good. Good job on that. I love that. Let me see if I can stop the share on that one. I'm going to see if I can share my iPhone. Let's see if I've got it on. So I can just show people. Let me see here. Tell me if you see my iPhone, because I'm not seeing it yet. There it is. All right. All right. So that's a cat, but that's not me. This is my account right there. Obviously, I'm slacking in comparison to Tessa, but you go to that little house on the bottom left, and then I just move over. You see how I'm moving the screen over? And then here's where Tessa's talking about here. If I leave my finger on the button in the middle, you see how the red line is then increasing? I can go like this, go around. You can take a look at my atrium there, and then my awesome bench, and then back here. Now, if it goes past that area, it's going to start a brand new video.
Yeah.
And then it keeps on going. Now I'm creating a longer video. Now the story is going to be broken up into 2 so far, but I can keep on going here and it can go on a few. This is what Tessa's talking about.
Yeah.
He's talking about making this long, and then once you're done, saving this. So now I'm done, right? And now if I want to save it, I press that little download button on the top. Now it's saving to my phone, and I can upload it later into IGTV if it was educational or if I wanted to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now then I press next, and then I would share it onto my story for now, and it's broken up into pieces. But that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah. So that's an awesome way to do it. Do you have anything on your story today as of like content today?
Oh yeah, I do.
Okay.
Actually.
So you also would just go to your story.
Let me go.
Are you still on yours? There we go.
I'm going to go now. All right.
Okay.
Let me see.
Click on your story, and then if you go to the 3 dots in the bottom right corner there.
All right. Let's go to the 3 dots in the bottom corner. Go ahead.
And then you can hit save.
Save.
It's going to give you 2 options. You can save the current video, which is just this one 15-second slide, or you can hit save story, and it would download your whole, it looks like you have like six slides up there. It would save all of those as one video.
No way.
Yeah. So that's kind of a cool way to have it as well, even if it's something you don't think to save at the current time.
I just saved it, damn it. All right. So then all these Yeah, so I went to a broker's open today, a couple, and that was good. Oh, good. And then we got that. I love it.
Yes.
All right.
There's all kinds of cool stuff.
Now, see, I'm flipping out inside, but you can't see it. This is pretty crazy. Good job. Good job on teaching us that. All right. Now, we've got that down. We're going to use that graph that you gave us, or that table, and we've outlined it. We want to then post, maybe mix it up with a couple of stories now. Now, how do we get followers? Because a lot of us are slacking. We're not even close to getting like 100. We need to break 100.
So this is the ultimate question. And there truly are, I mean, I could name probably 40 different ways that you can gain followers, but I'm going to give you guys a few of my favorite simple ways to do this in ways that'll also just benefit your account kind of as a whole. The first one is going to take a little bit of time. It doesn't have to take hours. I, in fact, like to just set aside like a 15-minute chunk of my day to work on this. It can be however much time you can really allocate to it, but setting aside some time is really important to connect with other people within your same market or niche or something like that, and find these referral partners and leverage that network. So of course, when we think of referral partners, we think of a title, we think of lender, maybe a couple others come to mind. I think of every single other profession that has to do with my area. That could be any other restaurants, that could be, gyms, that could be trainers, it could be financial advisors. I think of every single person that I could possibly, send referrals to and vice versa. And then I'm connecting with them and leveraging the fact that most everybody is now on social media, right? So you guys can create content together, you could share about one another. But then also, if these people are not yet in your kind of referral network, find the people who have a business in your local area and engage with the people who like their content. So that could be liking their photos. If you go onto a photo, you see the comments section. Anybody who drops a comment, you can actually like their comment. So that can be a great way to get people to kind of notice you, because it'll give them an alert that, oh, Tessabella just liked my comment, even if it's on somebody else's photo. Okay, so now they're getting that notification. They're likely to come check out what it is that you're sharing.
That makes sense, because when people comment on my stuff, I'm like, who the hell is this, right? Mm-hmm. So I go and I check their profile. I'm like, oh, cool, follow. That makes a lot of sense. All right, so we should be stalkers. That's what you're really saying.
I mean, essentially it is, but a lot of people are open to the connection and communication now. I mean, my assistant is somebody I met on Instagram. Everybody within my close circle, for the most part, are people who I've now built these strong relationships with throughout social media. So that's kind of the first way to get followers, is you need to get more eyeballs on what you're doing. So a great way to do that is to get people to notice you by liking their things, commenting on their things. And I don't just do it willy-nilly with anybody. I don't necessarily take the time to do this with people that live in Australia. However, I do it with people who are in my same area, and kind of engaging with the posts of others in my area. So that's the first one that's really good. Second one is to cross-promote on other areas. So if you're watching this right now on Facebook and you've likely built up a strong Facebook presence, maybe you have a Facebook business page, maybe it's even just your personal page, redirect those people over to Instagram. Say, hey, I'm not as active on here anymore. I would love for you to come join me on this platform, and give them a way to come find you. Same thing with maybe if you are big on LinkedIn. I know I have a lot of connections on LinkedIn. Every so often I'll do a post on there directing people over to my Instagram as well.
So can you go over how you normally do that? Is it just a post and says, hey guys, follow me on Instagram as well, I've got a profile there, or what do you normally say?
So a good way that I like to do it is I'll share a post that is really valuable, that I know that I put a lot of time into, that most people have been engaging with. I'll share that onto the other platform, whether it's actually physically like sharing the link for it, or just posting that same photo and be like, if you guys want to see more of this kind of content, this is what I share daily over on Instagram. Come join me over there. All right. And it could be the same thing with, an email list. If you've got a big email list or anything like that, just kind of thinking to cross promote on other areas where you may have an audience built up already.
All right. So since we have a good audience on Facebook, we should be doing that routinely on Instagram, so that we don't have a meager 2,500 people from Lab Coats on
Exactly.
Instagram, which is absurd. All right, everybody listening, go to Lab Coat Agents on Instagram and follow us, and also follow Tessa Bella too, please. So, Tessa, have you tried any promotions? Because as a business page, we have that promote button. Do you use that or not yet?
So personally, I do not. I know there's a lot of talk that, just like Facebook, Instagram is going more and so the direction of kind of pay to play. Mm-hmm. And from what I've observed, because this is what happened on Facebook, and since Instagram is owned by Facebook, I would assume it would likely be the same kind of situation. When people really started to boost these posts or promote posts or throw money into Facebook, they started to lower their organic reach because they thought, light bulb moment, this person is willing to pay. So why not encourage them to continue to pay to up that engagement and visibility? So same kind of situation with Instagram. I have not yet used it. There can be great opportunities to use it, but I have not yet promoted posts on Instagram. However, we do some like ads on Instagram through Facebook.
All right, cool. On the ads manager. Yeah, we've done that too, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right, well, anything you want to add in regards to content, the whole table that you have, or growing your following on Instagram? Anything that we missed that you want to add?
I would say I'll give two more things that kind of come to mind quickly about the following, growing your following. Okay. Great way that I love to do it, and I kind of touched on this, but think of the people that already have your audience and have shared members of the people that you want to connect to. So I'll just keep on my example of pizza. I think this might be leading to what I should have for dinner, but let's just think about pizza places in your local area. The people who follow a local pizza parlor probably live in that area, right? There would be no reason for somebody from Connecticut to follow a California pizza place.
True.
So you could go to these sorts of places where you know that the person following this account is likely in that area, and be connecting with them that way, or following them even to get them to come back over to you. So I always think about who shares my audience or members of my audience. And then the kind of last one I can leave with is encourage your clients to find you on social media as well. I know sometimes our clients may not be there yet, but a lot of times more and more people are there, and you can encourage them to post about you or repost something that you share. And that's a great way to obviously tap into their network because they're sharing who their realtor is. But it's also just a great way to get more followers and more people kind of checking out what it is that you're doing.
All right, cool. And then one of the things that you do really well when you do your video or videos on Instagram is that you have a call to action usually. Mm-hmm. And so can you explain that now that we're kind of wrapping up? Because that's super important. That's something that I kind of suck at, and so does Nick, and we're getting better at it.
Yes, absolutely. Calls to action. I'm a big believer that nearly everything you do should have some sort of call to action. And I think call to action is one of those things that kind of has a negative feeling around it sometimes, or we just have the impression that it means, hey, call me to buy, like if you want to buy or sell a house, and that's kind of the only call to action we think of.
It feels a little slimy sometimes. And maybe it's because I don't know how to do it.
Little salesperson kind of vibes. So instead, I just try to encourage people to engage with what I'm sharing. A call to action can be anything that you're training your audience to go do. And that's something I talked about a lot last time as well, but you really have to think about conditioning your audience. Instagram is still a relatively new thing to a lot of people. Yeah. And so when they get on there, not only are they already being pulled these 6 different directions with all the different places they could go to consume content, but now they also don't know when they're looking at your posts, what do you expect them to do? You can't just assume that everybody knows that you want them to shoot you a message or comment or like or anything like that. So I think that having a call to action, directing them somewhere, especially somewhere you can capture them as a lead, is a great way to kind of wrap up whatever it is that you're sharing.
All right. So if you could recommend one way for agents to do that right now, what would that be?
Yes. My favorite way of all time is hopping on an Instagram story and sharing something of value and then encouraging them to receive something that kind of correlates to that. So I talked about having like a buyer's guide or a credit guide or something that would be valuable to the average consumer, and then share something that relates to that. So maybe I could have a credit guide on the best way to kind of increase your credit. And then I make a story where I hop on and I talk about the credit that you need in order to qualify for a specific loan, or on average to qualify for a loan. And then encourage them to head over to that and download my free guide where they put in their name, phone number, email, and I've just captured them.
And then you put that link up on your profile. So then you'd be like, hey, I just put up the link on my profile. Go ahead and click it there, right?
Yeah.
Right. And then you can change that link, or do you change it often, or does it?
I do. I change my link probably at least once a month, which this is kind of a question I get a lot too, is there is something called Linktree, which allows you to have like 8 different links in your one link, which can be good for certain times, but it's again thinking about that confusion, right? We're kind of just these like sheep, and we want to be herding sheep where we want them to go. When you add too many different areas for them to go, you're not going to have as many people funneling where you want them. So it's thinking about, I like to just have one single thing to get as many people there as possible, so it's not confusing.
Got it. So it's just one thing. That actually makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right, perfect. So anything else you want to add?
I think that's pretty much it.
What's your website link? I know I have it here, but what is it?
It's tbdigital.kajabi.com.
All right, I've got tbdigital.mykajabi.com, and that's your coaching where you can show people how to do Instagram. You can do it lightly. As I took a look at it, there's like light if you're newer, and then really deep. So there's all different levels for everybody. And Tessa, you're going to be at LCA Live.
Yes, I'm so excited.
You're towards the morning part of the second day. Okay. And for those of you who haven't booked your tickets, labcodeagentslive.com. And that second day is going to be all about social, and you're pretty much kicking off the day. So
awesome. We'll start out strong.
That's right. All right. Well, thanks again for being on, and we'll edit this, put it onto YouTube, and then I'll share it with you too.
Awesome. I really appreciate it. And I always encourage anybody, if you have any questions or want to connect with me, that I love connecting with people. I answer all of my DMs, even if it takes me a while. So don't hesitate to ask questions.
Awesome. And then follow her on Instagram. Your handle is?
It's at Tessabella with 2 A's on both.
Perfect. At Tessabella. And that's on Instagram. And then she will respond to you.
Yes.
Thanks, Tessa.
All right. Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
You too.
Thanks.